If you think about the human race as a bird with two wings, you understand that if one is damaged or broken, no one can fly.
I'm a dreamer. I think being a storyteller means that you dream. I'm constantly dreaming about the world I want.
And organizations like Equality Now teach us that it all begins with something within all of our grasp. It begins with speaking up.
Whenever I don't want to make that ask, I remember that Aria and her friend don't want to be taken out of school to be married off at 12 or 13 years of age.
Thanks to my partnership with Equality Now, I am making that possibility a reality.
They are evidence that a determined and mighty group of legal warriors can literally change the course of history for girls and women.
This work is truly worth living for.
You're not alone. We're together in this, and we're gonna end sexual violence together.
We have to hang together. We have to be together. We have to let each other know that we have each other's backs.
That way, in time, all girls may be able to grow up believing that there are no avenues that are closed to them simply because they are girls.
To make sure that once again, as at times in the past, once again, the human race can fly. Thank you.
Good evening, and welcome to the Equality Now, Make Equality Reality Gala. We are delighted that so many of you can join us from all around the world. This is our first virtual gala, and we're so excited to update you on all the incredible work Equality Now is doing around the globe.
And in case you didn't know, or you were planning on Zoom bombing this gala, Equality Now is a human rights organization dedicated to ensuring equal rights for women and girls. The organization works to guarantee that laws treat men and women equally and prohibit all violence against women and ensure that women and girls have access to justice.
And while you're watching at home from the comfort of your couch, the main thing you can do is donate.
It's so easy. You can just send a text. The number is literally right there on your screen.
Throughout tonight, we'll be showing you how your support enables Equality Now to defeat injustice and create lasting change all around the world.
We're going to talk about the issues, we're going to inspire you, but we're also going to have some fun.
So let's do this. Let's kick off our heels. Who am I kidding? I'm not wearing heels. Are you guys wearing heels? No. I mean, I'm wearing like socks. Whatever it is, just get comfortable. Whatever it is that you need to donate freely, and spread tonight's message of inspiration and activism with your friends and family. Thank you, and enjoy.
During this quarantine period, I've been teaching my 3-year-old how to read.
Something I've been doing for fun. I've been reading like 31 books this year.
We have been meal prepping this year, trying to be healthy, but we have also had about like 10 of those holiday multi-flavored popcorn tins. You know, the ones where it's got like the chocolate and the cheddar and the caramel, and then you go from like the cheddar to the caramel and you stick it in your mouth at the same time. And then you're like, don't tell anybody. What was the question again?
I really got into knitting. I knit 2 sweaters in a month, but I'm still an amateur.
I bought knitting supplies, but then I watched Below Deck Mediterranean for 6.5 hours straight.
And also, I'm teaching my 3-year-old how to bake chocolate cake.
Surprisingly, it is trickier than it looks. Okay, and it's still not rising.
I rescued 4 dogs, 4 newly born kittens, 2 cats. Hi.
Okay, I need my sneaker bag. Bring it, Tony. I need my sneaker bag.
My staff and I were able to organize activists from across the region to map a plan to organize archaic religious family laws on issues like inheritance, custody of children, divorce.
Did she just say she organized an entire region and adopted a cat?
Hi.
7 cat. Oh, Okay.
We've been preparing a case against the government of Tanzania, which has banned pregnant girls from attending school, not just for the duration of a pregnancy, but for life.
Quick question. I didn't realize y'all were interviewing real advocates. So,
We were able to launch our report on sex discriminatory laws online. Syria, which was one of the countries in the report, repealed its sex discriminatory law, which allowed less punishment for honor crimes.
well, I cut my own hair this year, so.
In June, we worked with other human rights organizations to file an expert amicus brief in the case Commonwealth of Virginia versus Ferraro.
Amicus. Gotta be honest, I don't know what that word means.
We brought together some of the world's leading experts to inform best practices with the UN Special Rapporteur on Violence Against Women.
Did I tell you about my pumpkin spice bread?
During the pandemic, at the worst possible time, the government of Mexico cut budgets meant for women's services.
All right, my mom made it. I didn't even make it, but I put it on Instagram so it looked like I made it.
We helped grassroots organizations to get the decision reversed.
It is what it is.
This year has been really challenging, but we've done so much.
Even in this crazy year, we had to step up.
Tuvimos que hacer ajustes, pero seguimos en la lucha.
We're excited about this because we've been successful before, and I think we'll be successful again.
Honestly, it took me like a week to learn one TikTok dance. Start again. I messed it up.
Hello, I'm Jamila Jamil, and we are here tonight to change the world. We're all connected now more than ever, and even though sometimes social media seems a bit like the bad place, the internet and video calls make it feel like it really is a small world after all. And that's why we must care and fight for equality for women and girls all around the world now. Girls are our biggest and brightest hope for the future of a better planet, and yet girls around the world are in danger. Globally, 1 in 10 girls faces sexual violence. 3 million girls are victims of female genital mutilation every year in 92 countries, including the US and the UK. And girls make up the majority of victims of sex trafficking in every country, and this cannot stand. Equality Now is working to combat sex tourism and sex trafficking in Kenya, Malawi, sexual violence in Bolivia, Georgia and Russia, and FGM in Mali and Burkina Faso. And in America, they are working hard to get equality for women in the Constitution. Equality Now is changing laws across the globe to make sure that girls have the right to grow up and become women who will keep moving this fight forward in the future. And we need your help. Talk to your friends and sisters and daughters about how girls are treated around the world. Think about how we are all in this together. And then donate generously if you can to make sure all girls everywhere share the same equal rights that everyone deserves. Thank you.
This is our first online gala, and it really gives us a chance to connect with all of you around the globe. From our friends in Finland to activists in Egypt, we are all connected by a common goal to make equality reality. I am so proud to be part of the global women's rights movement. Grassroots activists, writers and filmmakers, regional networks, and international organizations like Equality Now all make up the ecosystem for change. The past few years have been really hard. Globally, we have seen the rise of authoritarianism and misogyny around the world, and there have been great threats to human rights and rule of law. This past year, the pandemic has disproportionately impacted women and girls, and it's threatened to reverse gains that we've made in the past decades. But it has also strengthened our resolve to remain vigilant and accelerate our work for change. And there's so much to be hopeful for in 2021. We really have a chance to build back equal. I am grateful for our amazing global team, some of whom you've met already. And I want to say a big thank you to supporters like you who help us carry the work forward. And with that, enjoy the show.
Hello, and welcome to my Zoom. Equality Now has asked me, Aubrey Plaza, to do a presentation on how their organization works because they know that I'm an amazing teacher. I have incredible patience. What? And I have a nurturing side. Not now. So let's do it. Class has begun. Now I'm going to share my screen with you, which I know how to do. Am I doing it? Number 1, Equality Now creates an international agreement on equality for women that governments need to live up to. Number 2, they help groups in different countries change their laws through working with lawmakers. Number 3, they bring forth lawsuits on important issues to influence the interpretation or application of the law. Now let's review. That was 3 things. All right, we don't need to do it again. I'm nailing this. This is good. I don't know, maybe I like Zoom. Maybe I'm a Zoomer. I am sober. Now, a little thing about the staff of the Equality Now organization. The staff is made up of yes, of course, there's humans. Human rights advocates. Yeah, nailed that. Anyway, these human rights advocates and lawyers, they work pro bono. No, bro, it's pro bono. This takes a lot of time, just like growing out your bangs, which is why you should never cut your bangs. Never cut your bangs. It's never a good idea. This is neither here nor there. Does anyone else need a haircut? In conclusion to my amazing presentation in an undisclosed location, I will never tell you where I am recording from today. A country's laws set the tone for how it treats people and how it treats each other, which is why Equality Now is so important because they actually change the laws. Sorry, sometimes I get angry. It comes from deep within. So basically, better laws plus more equality equals a better world. Why am I doing this? We don't know. God, I'm amazing at Zoom. Now you know why Equality Now is so important. I want it now! Now! And guess what? No one's around me for miles, so I can scream! No, sorry, I'm doing a presentation on it. Yep, no, okay. I'm gonna just get off this Zoom right now. God, I hate Zoom.
Hi, I'm the artist formerly known as Eve Ensler. You know, that playwright who couldn't stop talking about vaginas everywhere in the world with the vagina monologues. Allow me to reintroduce myself as V. I'm so delighted to be here. As we head into 2021, we are so hopeful for the future, but we must acknowledge the realities of the present. As a playwright, I know how effective it can be to use theater and drama to portray some of the harshest realities. So I'm honored to introduce 2 short performance pieces written by playwright and filmmaker Katie Capiello, featuring the cast of her hit Netflix show Grand Army. Inspired by real events, Katie created these short plays to put human faces on the reasons we are all in the fight. This first piece opens our minds to the realities of pregnant schoolgirls in Sierra Leone, performed by the extremely talented young actor Brittany Adabumola.
As of today, there are no confirmed cases of COVID-19 here. My younger brothers and my little sister are still in school. Between you and me, I feel a bit of resentment when I get them ready and out the door in the mornings. I was my sister's age the last time a disease ravaged my country. 14 years old, and I watched my cousin die of Ebola. And at the peak of it all, our schools were closed. My mother was the sole provider for all of us, and the outbreak made making money even harder for her. I was the oldest, so she would send me out to sell bags of water on the side of the road. That's how I met Ahmad. He was 20. At first, he just bought my water. Then he started to offer me extra for food or whatever else I needed. And I really didn't want my good luck to disappear, so I said I would be his girlfriend. 3 months later, I was pregnant. I was 7 months along when schools reopened. I was so happy to be back, to see my friends. But that first day, one of my teachers immediately noticed, and I was removed from school permanently because my government banned pregnant girls from attending school. We were a bad influence and an example of everything you must never do. And that was it for me. I worked with my mom, weeding other people's lands for the rest of my pregnancy, and I still do today. My son, he didn't survive delivery, and I never made it back to school. For my sister, it will be different. The courts struck down the ban a little over a month ago in March, saying all girls have a right to an education. My sister and her classmates will never not be allowed in school. Their futures will always be full of potential, and they won't ever be limited by things that happen to them. And I thank God for that.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Brittany and Katie, for that important piece. And I hope it's inspired all of you to reach into your pocketbooks and do we say pocketbooks these days? Reach into your purse, into your wallets, and support us and what we're doing. You know, Equality Now's Adolescent Girls Legal Defense Fund ensures that girls are safe at home, at school, and in the community by guaranteeing that legal systems are working positively for girls and addressing all violations of their human rights. I have proudly served on their advisory board since 2012, and I'm proud to share my support and my time, even when I'm getting arrested for peacefully protesting the climate crisis. Let's take a look at the work we're continuing to do in Sierra Leone. You know, the country shut down schools during the Ebola crisis, and we saw a resulting rapid rise in sexual abuse of girls and child pregnancies. And as you just saw, instead of addressing these heartbreaking issues, Sierra Leone banned pregnant girls from attending school. We sued the government and won the case at the end of 2019. We reversed that ban. We're fighting together to ensure a better future for girls, and every legal victory brings us closer to this goal. So please join us. There's never been a more important time to donate and ensure that every girl has a chance to grow up into the best future she deserves. Thank you so much for your support.
Hello to everyone watching this Equality Now virtual gala. I would be wearing my virtual tuxedo if I wasn't afraid to go pick it up from my actual dry cleaners. Oh, this sure has been a hair-raising year for those of you with hair to raise. So I'm happy to tell you this is going to be an evening of hope and inspiration, advocating for the protection of human rights for women and girls all over the world. Oh, you're going to be so inspired you won't be able to stop yourselves from diving into your pockets and grabbing that check or credit card and donating. So welcome and enjoy.
Hey everyone, I'm Karamo from Netflix's Queer Eye, and I am here to introduce one of the most important, groundbreaking, and timely documentaries to be released this year, On the Record. As we undergo a national reckoning with structural racism and systemic violence against Black Americans, On the Record explores the intersection of misogyny and racism in our country, adding a critical dimension to this conversation. The documentary follows Drew Dixon, a former music executive for Def Jam Records, as she agonizes over the decision of whether or not to go public with her allegations of rape by her former boss and hip-hop mogul Russell Simmons. Fellow Simmons survivors, as well as leading Black feminists intellectuals, and media critics speak in the film about how the collision of racism and sexism serves to undermine Black women as they speak their truth and seek justice.
I drove across the country to New York with a dream to make hip-hop records.
It's only now that we're really unpacking how toxic so much of that time was.
I didn't tell that many people about what happened with Russell. He's the king of hip-hop. The Black community will hate my guts.
I don't have a stitch of violence in me. I would never hurt anybody.
If white women are not believed, what do you think is happening to Black women in America when we come forward with stories about sexual violence?
The New York Times called me and said there were other women, but they won't go on the record unless I go on the record.
Everybody was taught things happened, you just didn't talk about it.
Every woman's story deserves to be heard.
I've been a victim for 22 years. I'm tired of being a victim.
This film is a celebration of strength, bravery, and perseverance that Black women exhibit every day, and it should be required viewing for each and every American. We sat down with some of the women and men behind and in the film to help give us some insight into the impact of On the Record, its role in expanding the Me Too movement, and how Equality Now helps support this year's release. Our deepest thanks to everyone who brought this film to life as we honor you this evening.
I don't think we had ever really seen any kind of production that dared to center as much of the truth of Black women's history growing up in hip hop.
I decided to be a part of the film because I knew that the conversation around sexual violence against Black women was going to require an all hands on deck approach. I wanted to be pushing that heavy boulder up this hill.
It occurred to me eventually that if I didn't say yes, this story might not get told. And so I agreed to do it because I didn't want to miss the opportunity to shine a light on this important topic.
I didn't know how to approach this, and I guess the fear was of my career being blocked. Well, once I finally let go, the relief I felt is like, I feel there's nothing that I can't accomplish now.
It just shows you how a piece of art can resonate and touch women who are bound together by survivor status.
The response has been a radical kind of revolutionary response and call to arms.
And it just felt like a kind of a release, like I'm not the only one.
So much of the silence happens because we feel we are at risk of losing community by telling our truth.
That is why it's so important to support survivors. If we as a society don't, people will not speak up, and this problem will just continue as it's continued for centuries.
So here we are at this beginning, and that is absolutely a source of hope.
Equality Now, thank you so much for supporting our film.
I'm so grateful for this organization and grateful for all that it does for women everywhere. And
to recognize this film, to recognize the filmmakers, to recognize the participants is bound to be encouraging to other women and other filmmakers who want to tell really difficult stories.
Culture needs storytellers, and Black women in particular need people who bear witness.
You can have community that can have support. Your voice and your experience will resonate with people that you didn't even expect.
To see all these women come out, it kind of gave me the power.
We can come together and open the door that lets the light in.
It wasn't easy showing up, but it was absolutely worth it.
And it made me much stronger.
I'm more powerful now than I ever was before.
I often write about events that I see in the world, and right now I am seeing the power of activism to overcome oppressive systems. It is also critically important to change the systems that govern us, and Equality Now has dedicated the last 28 years to systemic change by changing laws and legal systems to move towards fairness and gender equality. That is why I chose Equality Now to be the charity partner for the launch of the Testaments. Equality Now has changed over 50 sex discriminatory laws around the world. Just this year, after they launched their 5th global report on such laws, Syria changed its law on honor crimes, and Switzerland allowed paternity leave. And last week, Equality Now filed lawsuits against the government of Tanzania to reverse the ban on pregnant girls in school. So Equality Now has been busy during the lockdowns, and they need your support. Please donate tonight so we can all be certain that the fictional world of Gilead does not prevail. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Karen Robinson, here with you because I support the goals of Equality Now to create a just world for all women and girls. Our world looks a little different these days. Well, no, like a lot different. And I have had so much time to think, like a lot of time, like, oh my God, so much time. Anyway, I found myself fantasizing about what an ideal world would look like. An ideal world for women would look like. Think about it. Equal pay for everybody. Respect. Young girls will be educated without exception and be empowered. And women would have control and say over their own bodies. And we would pass on a healthy planet for future generations, right? The government will pay us for emotional labor. A new performing industry where 45-year-old women play 45-year-old women and 45-year-old male characters date women their own age. Black women and girls can wear their hair any way they damn well please. All dresses everywhere will have secret pockets, so that all complimented women can say, thanks, it has pockets. And you won't get hot flashes. Heating and cooling systems can monitor your body temperature and adjust accordingly. Older women will also be called silver foxes. Updated gynecological equipment that is not freezing. An army of Cicely Tyson and Dolly Parton clones. A world where women's pubic hair would be embraced in all its natural, glorious wildness. And the giant robot with laser eyes would hunt down anybody who talks over or interrupts a woman during a meeting and takes credit for her ideas. Being called a pussy is the highest praise. You know what? This is all possible. Trust me. And Equality Now.
Estamos no meio de uma pandemia global, mas existe outra pandemia fora de controle na América Latina: a de violência sexual contra mulheres e meninas. Nossas leis e sistemas jurídicos não estão equipados para lidar com isso e muitas vezes trabalham contra as vítimas, protegendo os agressores. No Paraguai e na Argentina, o Equality Now e seus parceiros trabalharam em casos de meninas com 11 anos que foram estupradas por parentes e forçadas a dar à luz devido às leis restritivas contra o aborto. Felizmente, estamos perto de uma mudança na Argentina. Na Bolívia, há uma lei que prevê penas baixas para agressores que estupram meninas de 14 a 18 anos, porque se supõe que, de alguma forma, as adolescentes teriam instigado seus próprios estupros. Para mudar esse absurdo, a Equality Now abriu um processo contra a Bolívia no Tribunal Interamericano. No Brasil, o Equality Now ajudou a destacar os crimes de abuso de meninas indígenas por turistas que vinham para passeios de pesca na Amazônia. Eles abriram o próprio processo contra turistas sexuais nos Estados Unidos em nome de meninas brasileiras. A Equality Now e seus parceiros estão trabalhando com grupos locais para alterar as leis para se alinharem com os padrões internacionais de direitos humanos. Precisamos de sua ajuda para continuar a luta por justiça e igualdade.
Hi, I'm Meryl Streep, and I am very honored to be here at Equality Now's Gala.
Gloria Steinem and Ruth Bader Ginsburg are two contemporaries who took two different approaches to the same goal, making equality a reality for women and girls. They knew each other, they supported each other throughout their lives. And on Ruth's passing, Gloria has written a few words talking about their unique connection and also the incredible impact that RBG has had on all of our lives. Gloria is not able to join us tonight, but I have the great privilege of reading her wise and wonderful words in tribute to her friend, to you. This is For Ruth by Gloria Steinem. Because Ruth Bader Ginsburg and I are pretty much age peers, I think I have some perspective on this extraordinary woman, long before she became known by her moniker, or for ending the gender divide in Supreme Court rulings. Ruth and I got to know each other decades ago, when she was creating the Women's Rights Project at the ACLU. She was clear then that reproductive freedom included the right to have, as well as not to have, children. Ruth took on an early case defending two teenage girls against sterilization as a condition of their receiving state aid, and to help her build a case, she asked me and her co-director, Brenda Feigen, to interview Fannie Lou Hamer, the great Mississippi civil rights worker who had been sterilized in a hospital she entered for an entirely different reason. Ultimately, Fannie Lou's courageous testimony helped Ruth defend the reproductive rights of these two young black girls who would otherwise have been sterilized. Ruth always understood that racism and sexism are intertwined and thus need to be uprooted together. We must continue to learn this from her. She will remain the standard of courage and intellect and kindness and heart that all of us must strive for. Many profiles of Ruth have commented on the legendary sense of humor possessed by her husband, Marty. But to be with them was to realize that both of them knew the truth of the adage, laughing is a proof of freedom. Ruth didn't just argue for equality, she practiced it personally. For instance, while she supported marriage equality on paper and on the court, she also personally performed the marriage ceremony of two men who were her friends. Through Ms. Magazine, I got to know more about Ruth through her then teenage daughter, Jane, who came to volunteer with us after school. She understood that daughters need to go out on their own, even if their mothers are way further out than anyone else. Ruth was always a whole person. It was really saying something when friends pointed out that her heart was as great as her mind. Looking back, I realized that when others on the court issued an opinion, we said to each other, did he or she vote right? Ruth is the one person about whom so many felt, if Ruth voted that way, then it is right. Being so close in age, I never thought I would have to live in a world without Ruth in it. Now I can only think of one simple answer to the heartbreak and tragedy of her loss. Whenever we face a question or a challenge, we can ask ourselves, what would Ruth do? As long as this answer guides our acts, she will be with us still.
There she is, also known as the notorious RBG.
I am proud to nominate this path-breaking attorney, advocate, and judge to be the 107th Justice to the United States Supreme Court.
My law school class numbered over 500. That class included less than 10 women. What feminism really means It is allowing people to pursue the talents and qualities they have without artificial restraints. It was exhilarating to help bring down the barriers that put women less on a pedestal than in a cage.
You can't keep me down, got fire in my soul.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg brought us into this reality where it becomes unthinkable to have these policies that expressly favor men over women.
It's my legacy.
United States against Virginia.
State actors may not close entrance gates based on fixed notions of males and females.
They show me that I can do things even if I don't think I can.
Don't do just for yourself. You will want to leave the world a little better for your having lived.
She was never supposed to be the great dissenter, but that's the course that history took her on.
I ask no favor for my sex. All I ask of our brethren is that they take their feet off our necks. This is right.
I know.
Fight for the things that you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you.
That's a third-degree Ginsburg.
One vital asset is the sense of humor. I surely would not be in this room today without the determined efforts of men and women who kept dreams of equal citizenship alive. Real change, enduring change, happens one step at a time.
She was an incrementalist who actually started a revolution. And not just in the past, but for those in the future.
Though we have made huge progress, the work of perfection is scarcely done.
Fact. The US Constitution guarantees equality for women and girls. Fake news alert, think again. Although over 80% of Americans assume that the Constitution prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex, they're wrong. The United States is one of only 15% of countries that does not guarantee constitutional equality to women. As we finally say goodbye to 2020 and head into 2021, we can see the real possibility of change on the horizon as Equality Now keeps up the fight to finally incorporate the Equal Rights Amendment in the US Constitution. The women's rights movement in the US has been fighting for the ERA for close to a century, and I think we can all agree it's just slightly overdue. When the ERA is added to the US Constitution, women and girls will be guaranteed equal rights and protection under the law. It will be illegal to discriminate against women and girls, and I think all of us can give that a hearty thumbs up.
Hello, I am Scarlett Curtis, and I am so honoured to be introducing the Changemaker Award presented by Gucci and Chime for Change. Chime for Change is a global campaign founded by Gucci in 2013 to convene, unite, and strengthen the voices who are championing gender equality and inspiring change. And in 2020, there may be no one that more embodies these values than Nadine Ashraf. At just 21 years old, Nadine helped usher in Egypt's Me Too movement. What began as an Instagram account dedicated to calling out gender-based harassment quickly amassed thousands of followers. Nadine's account helped so many to publicly express their pain and also led to action and systematic reform. I am honoured to introduce the incredible Nadine Ashraf as the recipient of the 3rd annual Changemaker Award. I want to start by asking, what inspired you to start your Instagram account, Assault Police?
Sexual violence crimes in Egypt and the Arab world are built on silence. Because of the insane media pressure on the case that I brought out, it was approved in just an incredibly short amount of time. One night at 4 a.m, it all just hit me all of a sudden, like, oh my God, I think I've been silenced because I chose to be, but in fact, I feel like I've basically been forced or coerced into silence for decades.
أنا نادين أشرف وأنا اللي بدأت account Assault Police.
When I started it, I definitely didn't think it would become the way it is today. I was just angry about being silenced, through the years, me and all the women around me and all the women I've ever met. Because when you're undergoing a system of oppression, you sort of think it's an individual experience. You think it's just happening to you. And I think what the internet allowed is for everyone to communicate and for so many of these oppressed groups, such as women, to realize that this is not just an individual thing. This is like a global thing that is happening to all of them throughout the world.
I feel like I grew up on the internet, and I think you're the perfect example of how the internet can be used for good.
Social media is literally the only form of media that is by the people and for the people, especially in Egypt for me and from my point of view at least. I have always thought that social media is such a powerful tool for social change.
We know that there was a law that changed recently in Egypt. Can you explain what that law was and what's changed?
It was basically a law that promised to protect victims' identities when they were to report any crimes of a sexual nature. The main reason why people don't report sex crimes in Egypt is because of this, contagious idea of taboo. And so victims don't report because they know very well that their names will be leaked to the media and their lives will be over. So a new law was introduced specifically to tackle this issue. It was a law that was approved by the parliament faster than any other law I've seen approved.
What's your hope for the future of Assault Police?
I want to be able to make long-term change. The importance of teaching, the younger generation, teens and kids and everyone, safety / sex ed classes, because that's incredibly important as a preventative measure to all of this. I would like to tell the younger generation that you can definitely use social media for change, even if it's TikTok. Don't let anyone discourage you from using these platforms for good. At the end of the day, I'm just a 22-year-old woman who felt frustrated with being silenced through the years. I always tell myself that if I don't do it, then who's going to?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Omar Samra. I'm an adventurer, serial entrepreneur, and activist from Egypt. It's a great pleasure to be with you today at the Gala. I first learned about Nadine Ashraf through her work on the online platform Assault Police, back when her identity was still anonymous. I was really taken back by the platform and how it was brave, how it was speaking with so much gusto, and also being very precise, not muddling the issue, not naming names about cases that could cause the issue itself to be derailed, stayed on course, stayed on the issue. And I was even further surprised and impressed when I found out that the person behind the account was a student at the American University in Cairo, my alma mater. To think that somebody at such a young age can have so much gusto, so much passion, so much focus to be able to take on such a difficult role. And in many ways, Assault Police can be credited for the renaissance of this movement, the Me Too movement in Egypt that sparked last summer. Men need to speak about the issue more. They need to speak about it with passion, with vigor. They need to claim responsibility and make themselves accountable, and not just the transgressors, but all men. Because at the end of the day, in the vast majority of cases around the world, men are the ones responsible. So I really hope that you will join me in this gala and further on to supporting equality now, supporting Nadine's efforts and Assault Police in Egypt, and all those around the world fighting for equality and human rights. Thank you so much. I hope that you have a wonderful evening in this gala, and I hope to speak to you all soon. Take care.
I'm back again to introduce the second performance written by Katie Capiello. This play was created to raise awareness of online exploitation and abuse, featuring performers Amalia Yu and Lola Blackman from Katie's show Grand Army. This dramatization features two girls discussing this rising global problem.
Okay, so I think we use the WHO article, the BBC article, and then the New York Times article, and then we'll have enough solid sources, even though they're not like technically scholarly articles.
Yep, got it.
Okay, so how do you want to split this up? I have acting on Tuesday and then a Spanish tutor the next day, but
What, is it him again? Tell me what it says and screenshot it right now.
this is like the end for me. Like, I'm not even kidding. I'm so fucked. He has access to my dad's LinkedIn.
What?
He sent me a picture of it. He said, "Yo, I get that you thought ignoring me was going to work. I bet you even felt pretty chill this week because you hadn't heard from me, but I'm not fucking around. I will send the pics you sent me to your dad today." This is him, right? How are you going to like seeing pictures of his little girl like this? Send me the video today and I won't spread these around to people you know. If I can find your dad, I can find your drama teacher, I can find your friends. It's easy. I told you the video doesn't need to be of your face. No one will even have to know it's you. You have an hour. I'm done playing fucking games.
Go tell your mom now.
No. She's been a mess. She can't see my grandma. She's been handling the twins' virtual classes every day, and she's drinking like half a fucking bottle of wine every night, and she thought she could trust me.
You didn't do anything wrong.
I sent a random guy pictures.
You didn't think it was a random guy. You thought he was a guy our age who saw you in a drama competition in the fall.
Still,
Dude, he knew you played Lucia in Comedy of Errors. Didn't he tell you he went to high school in Yonkers?
Yes, yeah.
And he told you he interned at the Hudson Valley Shakespeare Festival. That doesn't sound random.
I can't tell her.
Well, you can't make him this video. You can't. He'll post it on Pornhub or somewhere and you won't be able to get it down. All these cooped up guys will be jerking off to this. Plus, you're 16. You're a minor. This has to be illegal. I mean, it's definitely illegal. It's fucking predatory.
What if it is just a video of the act? I mean, what does it really matter, honestly, if my face isn't even really in it? It's like it's not even really me.
But then what does he ask for next? When does it stop?
Well, what more could he want?
What?
He sent me a screenshot of Miss Carson's Facebook profile and a screenshot of one of the pics I sent him uploaded into a message to her, and he's like, "I'll press send if you don't send it."
Take a screenshot, take it down the hall to your mom, and call the cops.
She's on a Zoom meeting. So what, the cops can see me like this? I'm so fucking stupid. I wish I could get out of here. I gotta go.
Georgia. What is he saying now?
I gotta go.
Georgia.
Hi, I'm going to read you a little bit of context about online exploitation. COVID-19 is exacerbating gender inequalities around the world, including the sexual abuse of children in the digital sphere. The internet is borderless, so is the abuse. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children saw a 106% increase in the suspected child sexual exploitation reported to its global cyber tip line within the first few months of the pandemic alone. At this very moment around the world, there are more than 750,000 people looking to connect with children and young people online for sexual exploitation. Girls are particularly vulnerable, accounting for 90% of those featured in child sexual abuse materials. So how can we combat this type of exploitation and abuse? Online sexual exploitation of children is a complex crime that requires a multifaceted, gendered response and global cooperation among governments, tech companies, nonprofits, and survivors. Equality Now is working to raise awareness and build consensus for a global legal framework to end online harms. Support these vital efforts by donating today.
Hi, I'm Rob Reiner, and I want to thank you all for attending this
Zoom Gala for Equality Now. There's a lot of you out there. I can make most of you out. You're all in these little tiny boxes. Pretend I'm like that. I'm sure that's what you're seeing. You're seeing this much of me. But I'm really happy that you're with us because it's a great organization and we need you now more than ever.
As activists, we don't always need to reinvent the wheel, you know? We can look to the heroes who laid the groundwork. We have seen some incredible films about iconic activists this year, and we were fortunate to spend time with the cast and crew of the Glorias. This film reminds all of us of one of the most important lessons from Gloria Steinem, the power of listening to and learning from each other. We sat down with some of my amazing Gloria kindred spirits from this important film to share with us what they learned from portraying amazing icons like Gloria Steinem, Dolores Huerta, and Wilma Mankiller. We must listen to each other and embrace intersectionality as we continue to move forward together in search of a more equal world.
I'm Kimberly Guerrero, and I had the distinct joy and honor of playing Wilma Mankiller in The Glorias.
My name is Monica Sanchez, and I play Dolores Huerta in The Glorias.
I had the honor to play Gloria Steinem, one of the Glorias in the film. One of the first questions that I asked her, I said, what would you ask the younger version of yourself? And she was like I would do with anyone. I would ask, so what do you think?
The work of Gloria Steinem and so many of the women portrayed in the film exemplifies the power of listening.
The film reflected what our world actually looks like. Even being on the set, to be there as a Native woman and to be there with so many other Native women, we usually aren't included in those stories.
Where Gloria starts to become the Gloria Steinem that we are aware of is on her trip to India. She became friends and followed an older Indian woman who had been a follower of Gandhi. The woman said to Gloria, if you want to change people's lives, first you need to know how they live. So they go into a village, and that night she saw these women and they sat in a circle and slowly they encouraged each other to talk. And what they found out was that if you listen to what other people are going through, you might realize that that is also what you're going through.
Listening can be a radical expression of receptivity. And maybe more importantly, that to be receptive is not the same thing as to be passive.
But somebody else is looking from the other side of the mountain and they have a whole different perspective. Just sitting down and sharing. It's a key to unlocking the division and the hatred and the mistrust that is so rampant in our world right now.
I think we were seeing the moment of gathering all these different people around, and we know that this is the way forward. This is what it needs to be like.
If I could take away anything from this film of the strength of Gloria Steinem, it would be her ability to be part of a movement, not just to be I.
We have choppy waters ahead to navigate, but with all my heart, I believe that we can do it. We can navigate those waters if we're listening together.
This is how we learn to respond to the world as opposed to react to it.
You don't have to just think that the world or certain ideas are shifting one direction. Everyone does have a voice.
Hey there, it's us again from the beginning. We're back. Hi. So Sheetal, how are you holding up during these uncertain times? What was that?
I should warn you, I'm going to buzz you every time you say something that sounds like a cliche.
Why?
So it's a fun little game. I mean, I'm just so sick of all these quarantine cliches.
Wait, can I buzz you as well?
Yeah. Okay.
I understand. It's like those car commercials, right? Where they're talking about, we're all in this together. What? No, that was an example. I was trying to do a cliche. Okay. I love catching up with you over Zoom. And I should warn you that I'm in my pajamas right now from the waist down.
Zoom cliche. how have you been during the new normal? Yeah.
I had a baby. What? Why is that a cliche?
Everybody is having babies right now.
I can't believe I haven't seen you in so long.
I know. I miss you guys so much. Oh my God, 2020. What a year. Okay, agreed.
But you know what? Look, this year has also been sort of amazing, right? I mean, did you ever think that you would see the entire world mobilizing to support people of color in America?
No, actually,
No.
I'm still blown away.
I know, it's mind-boggling.
How about finally the New York Times acknowledging that white people didn't invent turmeric curry? What? Why?
I'm sorry, that is a white people cliche. And also because brown people have known that since the spice trade. We also know that there's no such thing as chai tea.
Yes, we don't say TT, we just say chai, people. Oh, it feels good to laugh.
So good. You know, we can't let the pandemic take away all our happiness. All right, fine, shit.
Yeah, you know what I do when things feel nuts?
Tell me.
I donate to Equality Now.
Just making it rain. Genius.
Yes, try it. We can't neglect our own self-care.
But you're right. You're right, though. It is so important. It is so important now more than ever. Okay, fine.
Hi, it's Linda Perry out here in Sherman Oaks, California. I'm bummed out that we won't all be gathered around in that extremely inspiring room that happens every year that Equality Now Gala provides. The motivation, inspiration that I walk out with is inspiring. So all my love to support all the work that Equality Now does. Thank you, everybody, and happy holidays. And I'm going to say happy holidays. Okay, bye.
Hello, and thank you all for joining us tonight. I am Eva Biaudet, a member of Parliament and chair of the National Council of Women of Finland. I'm so proud to tell you that Finland has long been a leader in gender equality. As part of a dedication to equal rights, Finland launched the International Gender Equality Prize on International Women's Day in 2017. It was to celebrate our 100 years of independence. In 2019, we awarded this prize to our friends and supporters at Equality Now for their work in changing discriminatory laws and practices around the world. To Equality Now staff and supporters, tonight we celebrate your tireless efforts and great achievements. To everyone watching from around the world, together let's make gender equality a reality for all women and girls everywhere.
So 2020 is almost over. Hallelujah. But 2021 is just around the corner. So let's take a look and see what Equality Now is planning for next year. We are all systems go on helping pass the Equal Rights Amendment, which will explicitly prohibit discrimination on the basis of sex, thank you RBG, and make sure that basic rights for people of all marginalized genders are protected under our most fundamental legal document, the US Constitution. We are also about to release 2 groundbreaking reports that show how the legal systems in South Asia, Latin America, and here in the US are failing victims and survivors of sexual violence. It includes big ideas for changing the legal system to make the world a more just place. In Russia, we're working to tackle domestic violence by getting it defined legally as a form of abuse. The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice, and it takes work from all of us to do so. We can continue this progressive momentum that this year has wrought by encouraging each other in this good work. Please, please donate, activate, gather together safely, probably online, continue to learn, educate, and commit to being part of the solution for a better future. After all, we're in this together. Thank you, Equality Now, for leading by example.
Hey guys, it's Jess Glynn here. I'm so excited to be here in support of Equality Now and the incredible work they do for women and girls all around the world. This year's been super challenging, and I think it is so important to remind ourselves, and everyone who is struggling and feeling super oppressed right now, that you're not alone, none of us are alone. And I think that's one thing that we need to remind ourselves. And I'm sending all the love to everyone out there who's going through it, who's not going through it, whatever it is. Just know that I feel you. It's not been easy. But yeah, I'm going to sing this song, I'll Be There For You, and hopefully lift your spirits just for a moment or two. So yeah, thanks for having me, and here we go. When all the tears are rolling down your face, and it feels like yours was the only heart to break, and when you come back home and all the lights are out, and you're getting used to no one else being around. Oh, I'll be there when you need a little love. I got a little love to share. Yeah, I'm gonna come through. You'll never be alone. I'll be there for you. I'll be there, I'll be there for you. I'll be there, I'll be there for you. Oh, I swear, I got enough love for two. Never be alone, I'll be there for you. When it's Friday night and the dreams don't work the same, and you're alone with yourself and there's no one else to blame, and when you still can't feel the rhythm of your heart, and you see your spirit fading in the dark. Oh, I'll be there when you need a little love. I got a little love to share. Yeah, I'm gonna come through. You'll never be alone. I'll be there for you. I'll be there, I'll be there for you. I'll be there, I'll be there for you. Oh, I swear, I got enough love for two. Never be alone, I'll be there for you. When you're lost down the riverbank, I'll be there. When you're lost in the darkness, I'll be there. I'll be there when your heart is breaking. Never be alone, be there for you. I'll be there, I'll be there for you. I'll be there, I'll be there. Oh, I swear, I got enough love for two.